The film happens during the Barbarian age, a period that existed millennia before the present day. Progress. We see a samurai smithy showing his young child, Conan, a showstopper sword that he made. He explains that one ought never to trust men, women or beasts, but they can trust their blade, not their penis sword, their metal one. In the following scene, as Conan is searching the forest with some young boys, he finds an enemy group. Panicked, he rushes back to inform the villagers, but the enemy troops arrive there first. They begin to brutally butcher the villagers and set fire to their homes. A few can arm themselves and retaliate. Conan's father also fights courageously, but a man named Rexer hits him from behind with an enormous axe. He then releases walks to finish off the injured metal forger. Following this, we meet the enemy force's leader, a magician named Thulsa Doom. He approaches Conan's mother, who tries to hit him with a sword. However, Doom easily spellbinds her with his gaze and decapitates her, leaving Conan frightened. Where is my mother's head? Following the slaughter, the invaders capture the children and sell them into bondage. No one knows who the invaders were or where they went, but Conan remembers their flag, which featured a two-headed snake over a black sun and moon. The little youngsters are then used as workers to push a large treadmill known as the Wheel of Pain. Cut to many years later, Conan has become an adult and is strong enough to run the treadmill alone. I have the guns to do it. His owner then puts him to work as a warrior, where he wins countless battles. After this, he is taken to the east, where he receives formal training from martial arts specialists. Conan further improves his combat skills as well as his proficiency with swords and various other weapons. Moreover, he learns to read and write, and young girls are given to him to lay down with. Keep the women coming. Conan continues to win his battles, and his owner becomes immensely rich as a result. He is finally granted his freedom. In the next scene, Conan returns to the west but is pursued across the plains by a pack of wild dogs. He seeks refuge in a solitary stone structure, where he accidentally enters the tomb of an old king. He then takes the king's sword so he can defend himself from the dogs. Time to go get little pups. Following this, Conan wanders for many years and has many adventures. Yet wherever he goes, he asks if anyone knows the sign of the two-headed snake over the black sun and moon. One day, while traveling through the wilderness, Conan comes across a small cottage inhabited by a woman. She invites him inside and claims that she knows him from his famous stories. Conan explains that he's searching for a symbol, a single snake with the heads facing each other. The woman offers to help him, but on the condition that he lays down with her. Men wrote this film. Conan agrees without hesitation. I'm rock hard already, baby. And they hit the sack together. During their lovemaking session, definitely. Oh man. The woman tells Conan that he will find what he's searching for in the old city of Shadizar. But moments later, she transforms into a demon and tries to attack him, forcing Conan to throw her into the fire. It is then revealed that she is a witch rather than an ordinary person. She then changes into a ball of fire and flies away, laughing. The next day, Conan prepares to leave but finds a man chained outside the witch's home. His name is Subotai, and he's a Hyrcanian bowman and thief. It turns out he was left there to die as punishment for his thievery. Conan frees him, and the two quickly become friends. He then shares about the snake symbol and his plan to visit Shadizar. With nothing better to do, Subotai also offers to accompany him on his journey. In the next scene, they arrive at Shadizar and question an old man about the strange snake symbol. The latter directs them to the Tower of Serpents, a nearby temple for a new cult that worships snakes. He also reveals that the location is said to hold great treasures, including a giant ruby known as the Eye of the Serpent. Later, when Conan and Subotai attempt to climb the temple, they encounter another thief named Valeria. The three then decide to join forces and break into the temple to steal the treasures. Better believe it, it's now a threesome. Following this, Valeria climbs the tower and checks the top level, where Rexer is performing a ritual. He is hypnotizing a woman into stripping and throwing herself into a snake pit. Meanwhile, Conan and Subotai reach the pit containing the Eye of the Serpent, which is guarded by a giant snake, but it is currently sleeping. So the two take everything they can, including the giant ruby. Moments later, Conan finds a pendant with the two-headed snake, confirming that he is on the right track. He takes it too, but this is when the snake awakens a savage monster. A deadly battle then follows between the two groups, but the men eventually manage to slay the creature. In the process, Rexer discovers that the snake has died and becomes enraged. He immediately sends his guards after the thieves, but our heroes manage to escape safely. After this successful heist, they indulge in an intense session of celebrating and drinking. Conan even gifts the giant ruby to Valeria, and they end up having sex. I lay down with all that moves. The next morning, they are caught by soldiers and taken to the palace of the local king Osric. He informs the thieves that he knows what they have done because Rexa came to complain to him. He also states how Rexa threatened him with consequences if he didn't capture the thieves. After hearing this, the trio is terrified and expects that they will be executed, but surprisingly, Osric reveals that he has no regard for the snake cult and congratulates them instead. He explains that his own daughter, Yasmin, has joined the cult and is a devoted follower of the high priest, Thulsa Doom. Right now, she is on her way to a place called the Temple of Set to marry Doom. Osric then gives the trio gifts and vows to provide enough treasures for them to become rulers. In return, he wants them to rescue his daughter from the clutches of Thulsa Doom. Eventually, Conan and Valeria become intimate again and express their love for each other. Valeria doesn't want to risk their current happiness and advises against pursuing Yasmin. She explains that they should simply enjoy their fortunes and leave King Osric to deal with his own problem. Conan pretends to agree with her, but in his mind, he is still determined to get revenge on Doom and probably lay down with Osric's daughter. The following morning, he awakens before the others and sets out alone to the sanctuary of Set. After some time walking, he arrives at the sacred standing stones guarded by an old wizard named Akiro. They quickly become friends and spend the night discussing their lives. Conan discusses his mission, but Akira warns him that Doom is far more powerful than an ordinary person. The next day, Conan continues his journey and arrives outside the sanctuary of Set. He attacks a priest, knocks him out, and takes his clothes. He then disguises himself as a priest and slips into the sanctuary along with the others. However, not long after, one of the priests notices the snake pendant, which ruins our hero's disguise, and he is brought before Doom. Doom tortures Conan and chastises him for stealing from their sanctuary and killing their sacred snake. Conan also expresses rage about how they killed his parents and destroyed his village. However, Doom responds that he was young then and doesn't remember the incident. He then orders his men to execute Conan on the Tree of Woe. Following this, Conan is left in the desert, nailed to an old tree. He expects he will die soon, but a few days later, Subotai manages to find him unconscious. Valeria arrives soon after, and they free him from the nails and carry him to Akiro's hut. Conan is almost dead at this point, so Akiro summons underworld spirits to heal him. He warns that they will demand a high price, but Valeria will pay anything to save her beloved. Akiro then spends several days performing rituals and painting designs on Conan's body. A few more days later, he finally awakens, having fully recovered. Valeria becomes emotional to see him alive and vows to always be by his side, even if she has to return from the afterlife. Next, the trio decides to return to the mountain to rescue Yasmin and kill Doom. They paint themselves with warrior camouflage and enter the sanctuary through the back door while silently killing the guards inside. They find a savage slaughterhouse where cult members are taken to be eaten by the leaders. They then move forward until they reach the royal chamber, where they finally find Yasmin kneeling at Doom's feet. Moments later, Doom reveals his secret to his power and longevity. It turns out, he isn't human at all, but rather a demonic spawn of Satan. His jaw begins to extend forward, and his hands disappear beneath his robe. Seconds later, he unexpectedly transforms into a giant snake. After seeing this, the trio launches an attack, killing several of Doom's minions. They eventually manage to reach Yasmin and take her away safely. They then get on their horses and escape the pathetic place. But minutes later, Doom appears, this time in his human form. He shoots them with an arrow made from a live poisonous snake before rushing back to the sanctuary. The arrow strikes Valeria in the side and mortally wounds her. Conan and Subotai get her off her horse and try to save her, but it's too late. In her last moments, she informs Conan that she promised to pay for his life, which he has now fulfilled. She then kisses him one last time before succumbing to her wounds. In the next scene, Conan burns Valeria's body and conducts a proper warrior funeral for her. Yasmin, who's tied to a rock nearby, taunts him, saying that Doom will see the fire and come after him. However, Conan just smiles as if he wants the enemy to come to him. Later, at the sacred standing stones, Conan, Akiro, and Subotai prepare for defense and lay various booby traps. Conan then prays to the Sumerian god to give him his revenge. Soon enough, Doom arrives with his minions and launches a deadly attack, but Conan and Subotai manage to defeat most of his forces using the booby traps. As the battle rages on, Rexa gains the upper hand on Conan and nearly kills him, but Valeria briefly appears from the afterlife, as she had promised. She then uses her light shield to block Rex's deadly blow, allowing Conan to fight back and eventually kill Rexa with his sword. After losing all his men, an enraged Doom decides to kill Yasmin with one of his snake arrows. She pleads for mercy and calls him her first love, but Doom doesn't care and ends up shooting her. Luckily, her life is saved when Subotai jumps in front of her with his shield. This frustrates Doom so much that he runs back to his sanctuary to replenish his powers. The scene then shifts to the mountain sanctuary, where Doom is performing a purification ritual with the fire of torches. Conan sneaks into the sanctuary again, this time with the help of Yasmin, who has now joined his cause. When Doom sees him, he greets him warmly. He even addresses Conan as his son, reminding him that he was the one who gave the boy purpose and strength in life. Doom attempts to hypnotize him, and for a moment, it seems to work. But Conan quickly snaps back to reality and beheads Doom. He then throws the head to the followers at the bottom of the steps. Here you go, little men. The cult members are terrified to see this and immediately flee. In the aftermath, Conan throws a burning oil lamp into the sanctuary, setting it on fire. Yasmin then kneels at his feet, and he leads her to her father. As the film closes, we see a much older Conan seated on a throne. Akira explains in a voiceover that Conan went on many adventures before finally gaining a throne and becoming a king.